Hello, everybody. I am so. I thought this had been live since 4 o'clock. This is the first time I'm using Facebook Live, and apparently they changed their entire algorithm this week. So please forgive me, and if you need to get off, please do so. But it is lovely to see everybody here, and I've been talking. Um, so yes, let's see. Ah, hello, everybody. Welcome to Tea with Amber. I so apologize for the fact that I had to get on. Actually, I was on at 4 o'clock, but Facebook apparently changed some algorithms around Facebook Live, I was told. And so here it is. And so I am late, but I thought I was live at 4 o'clock and I was walking away to the screen. I'm going to just see. Can somebody tell me if I'm live right now? Ah, good. Thank you, Joan Barbaric. Thank you. Okay, I'll start it again. Ah, welcome, my friends, to my first Tea with Amber stories, reflections, and inspirations during uncertain times. I hope you all have your cup of tea. I certainly need my lovely brewed cup of lemon ginger tea right now. Mm, given that I thought I was on for 20 minutes, but no worries, we are here. The inspiration for Tea with Amber comes from a very tender story from my childhood. I was 9 years old, the summer of 1960, living in Uganda, but that summer I was in London getting ready to go to my boarding school in Kent. It was a shaky time for me. I was terrified of the unknown. And living in London at that time, there was this very sweet radio broadcast that would come on every day. It was called Listen to Mother. And at noon, as Big Ben would sound its chimes, Listen to Mother would come on. There would be stories, poems, songs, and every day I would eagerly await that 1 hour in which I felt anchored on this journey that was a little terrifying. So Listen with Mother became the inspiration for Tea with Amber. And I thought, during these uncertain times, what better than to have a half hour over a cup of nourishing tea to connect to one another as we go through this profoundly uncertain time. So I hope you will see this as an oasis, a place to come to, a refuge, just for that half hour. Um, And over the next weeks, I'm thinking of doing it every Tuesday, and we'll share with you reflections, stories, inspirations, news that I'm hearing that I think will help you on the journey. May Tea with Amber become a lantern for you during these uncertain times. So, welcome again, and apologies again for coming on a little later than I'd hoped. So, we are living in astonishing times, bewildering times. Some say this is a cataclysm, the time of great endings. Others say this is the time of great beginnings. Some call it the time of the great unraveling, others the time of the great awakening. No matter what lens we put on this particular time, there is one clear truth that shows up. And that is that the past has pushed us out. The world as we knew it has ended. A new world is beckoning. But in the meantime, we are now thrown into a terrain that is confusing, messy, wild, uncontrollable. We are all in the same boat, but some are meeting the storms, and we're all meeting the storms differently. Some are going through a time of profound pain as they see their loved ones dying. Others are losing their jobs and their livelihood. Some are seeing this as a time of immense opportunity, as a time to wake up to a new way of being in the world. No matter how or what, we are watching the myriad guises of the human drama unfold before us. The metaphor that I find particularly helpful as we go through this time is that of the caterpillar, the chrysalis, and the butterfly. The caterpillar was never meant to be a fatter version of caterpillar, a more improved version of caterpillar. The caterpillar was meant to die and dissolve into a soup of liminal possibility in order to emerge in the alchemy of the butterfly. In many ways, the caterpillar represents the old story in which we have resided. A story that perhaps had become very bloated with its self-importance. A story that might have actually not worked for you. A story that you were ready to leave behind. And the butterfly represents the new story, the transformational story, the story of possibility, the person you are seeking to become, the liberating, the freedom of the butterfly. So as we look at this metaphor, we recognize that between the two stories, in that liminal place, is the chrysalis. We are living in the chrysalis right now. The chrysalis is uncomfortable. It is painful. It creates profound suffering. It's wild. It's uncontrollable. We sit in the darkness of not knowing. Whereas once we had the structure to our lives, where our identity was fed and nourished and we knew who we were, in the chrysalis, it's all taken away. We don't know who we are. The new story, the butterfly, has not yet shown up, but it will. The chrysalis can be this place of profound panic, but it can also be this place that invites us all to be patient. To be patient, to listen, to go deeply, to meet ourselves in perhaps a new way. I live by myself in this very sweet apartment here in New England. And I keep bumping, now that we're in quarantine, I keep bumping against myself. I keep meeting myself in every room. Sometimes I'm in panic. Sometimes I'm in fear. Sometimes I'm in joy. The very fact that I can see myself in this mirror of life gives me the opportunity to know myself better, to become more aware, and also to understand that there are aspects of my old story, the caterpillar, that never really worked for me, that I was ready to release. And aspects of the new story, because when the storm passes, and it will pass, the question is, who are we becoming? Who are you seeking to become? How are you seeking to show up in that new story? The chrysalis gives us the time to ask these deeper questions. So even as we panic, let us find patience. Even as we are stripped down of everything we knew, let us trust that there is an opening to something that is seeking to emerge in all of us. So this brings me, and I just wanted to end by saying that we are actually all of us in this together alone. So this brings me to a transmission that I wanted to share with you. This is actually one of the reasons I decided to have the Tea with Amber series. It was because of this transmission. On March the 12th, on a chilly, cold morning, I woke early, made myself a cup of tea, and sat down with my journal for a writing meditation. I'm a writer. I journal extensively. So for me, a journal, the white pages, the blank pages of a journal are not intimidating. But this time, I had a question, and I wrote it at the top of the journal. And the question was this. It was addressed to the coronavirus. And I asked, what have you come to reveal to us? The answer came very calmly, very clearly, and very fiercely. All I did was scribe it. I wrote it down. I'm going to read you the transmission. I feel it's an important one to share with you. And I want you to know that it has not been revised, edited, shaped, crafted in any way. I read to you what I received that morning. So if you would like to get your cup of tea and perhaps even close your eyes so you can fully receive the message, I invite you to do so now. All right. A reflection on Corona, a message received in my morning meditation, March the 12th, 2020. This is the great initiation. You have had others in your human cycle. Initiations are your fire path. You have to walk through them, even as your feet smolder and burn. Even then, there is no respite, for this initiation requires you to wake up, to step across the burning threshold into a new awakening, a new time. Some see it as a time of apocalypse. It is, if you understand that the true meaning of the word is the dropping of the veils, the great revelation, a time when the shadows rise up from the dark depths, ready to be witnessed. I, Corona, arrive as the great unifier. I pay no heed to your borders and boundaries, to your walls and fences. I sweep across rich and poor, black and white, north and south, transcending all dualities and polarities. I care not for your institutional order and political hierarchies, your financial markets, your social media. I have come to destroy your illusions around these structures, built on foundations of sand and seeming stability. Institutions that seek only to devour, ravage, consume, and destroy the essence of your humanity, your natural order. For that, you must seek out nature, her networks of mycelium that hold your planet together. For that, you must go and sit under the shade of the ancient oak and listen to what she has to tell you. Gaia, the great restorer, nurturer, and sacred womb of life, has much to reveal to you. I understand all this. Hidden behind my cloak of invisible microbes, I have come to remind all of you how fragile your life is, how sacred. For life is restorative and requires intricate balance. and the life force that courses through the veins of this planet has been deeply poisoned. I am the great disruptor, cutting through your frenetic obsession with economic growth, one that enslaves all of humankind. Your insane worship of money and profit at all cost. Your narcissistic greed and parasitic desires, all of which diminish the human imagination. I have come to disrupt all of it. Your schedules and events, your constant busyness, your social calendars. You now face quarantines and social distance, need to wash your hands, pray, despair, weep. You are lost and helpless in the face of Corona's wrath. This is part of my medicine, my Kali face, one that destroys in order to create, disrupts in order to restore, unleashes fury in order to free you into fierce compassion. You are now asked to open your eyes to the deeper message of this time, to look at the horizons of your becoming, to take note, to understand that your systems have been imploding, their foundations rotting at the core, to know that they do not, cannot sustain or nourish the divine spark that you are. Your systems were never designed for that in the first place. This patriarchal system with its matrix of control, domination, hierarchy, serfdom. You have been witnessing its collapse for years, decades. I, Corona, now have made sure of that. Remember, in the breaking down of your entire system, breakthrough is heralded. The golden light of a new story is possible. You have to believe in this and get to work. Gaia, your mother, awaits. The transmission, so clear. So clear. 3 weeks ago. And the journey has now brought us to today. It was the face of Kali that the Corona message invoked that I thought so interesting and curious, and actually so resonant. In Hindu mythology, in Hinduism, we talk about the era of Kali Yuga. And Kali, of course, being the destroyer, fierce. She breaks down in order to create. And this time that we're living in is coming to the end of the Kali Yuga. So we are experiencing profound shift at all levels. So in this transmission from Corona Kali, I call her, I felt a certain responsibility to this time, to showing up as so many of us are now, feeling a sense of mission, a light that is sparking, wanting to illuminate the path of mankind, our beloved humanity. The transmission gave me a profound sense of peace, actually, even in the midst of all of this. We are at a crossroads now. Some call it a portal, some call it a hole. And the crossroads, the nature of the crossroad is very poignant. We can either choose fear, we can choose love. And love here is the many aspects of love, the creative aspects, the fearless imagination of love, the intuitive imagination, and fear with all that it holds, its toxic energy that encloses us and enslaves us. Times of crossroads are poignant and profound because we're asked to choose. I will share with you a dream I had about 12 years ago. It was at a time in my life when many things were breaking down. And in the dream, I was walking away from a burning city, clutching onto a candle. I wanted to go back to that city. It was my home, but it was burning. I could not return. And so as I made my way out of the burning city, I came to an abyss, the edge of an abyss. And I looked down and I saw this black hole, this hole of the unknown. And I was terrified and I didn't want to jump. And then in the dream, a hand came, placed itself gently on my back, and pushed me over the abyss. And I went somersaulting down, 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 until I found myself lying on this grassy hillside. And as I lay there, this voice spoke to me very clearly. It said, "You have left the kingdom of fear and greed. You are now in the kingdom of love. Here, the rules are different. Pay attention. Wake up." And that dream is so resonant to what we're going through now. That as we get to the edge of the abyss of the unknown that we're all facing, perhaps there is a gentle hand pushing us across and allowing us to arrive in a very new place. So perhaps you can consider, what kingdom do you want to reside in? And little by little, begin to create it during this time of the chrysalis. So that, my friends, comes to the end of our tea time. I want to keep them short because we're all saturated with so much information and noise, even in the midst of our retreats. And I want to read to you a small, lovely little reflection from Rumi, who carries us through all of these times, doesn't he? Rumi says, "The breezes at dawn have secrets to tell you. Don't go back to sleep. You must ask for what you really want. Don't go back to sleep." So, my friends, again, apologies for coming on late. Next Tuesday at 4, I will make sure I'm on and will have worked out the logistics of Facebook. I hope that over this week you will be safe and healthy. I shower you with 1,000 blessings. And I thank you for joining me at my Tea with Amber. Goodbye. Now I have to figure out how to close this.